Hey guys, Mr. Benny1235 back here yet again. Gonna be ranking all of the Gorillaz albums, including the Now Now. I thought this would be a fun idea. Never really done something like this with Gorillaz before. And I also wanted to kind of throw in a bit of a Gorillaz effect review of the Now Now. I mean, after you listen to a Gorillaz album multiple times, feelings definitely change on some things that you didn't think were as great before or pretty great now. And even being a super big Gorillaz fan, I still get thrown into that mix of being a normie fan where I'm just like, why would they do this? And then after I listen to it, I'm like, well, this might be one of the best songs on the album now. So I've been kind of hit by that on a few things ever since my review. And once again, you just can never really predict with Gorillaz what you're going to feel a few listens from now. Same thing happened with Hallelujah Money. I put out a track review dissing that track, and now I think it's just fine, and I think it fits great on Humanz. So we'll talk about that when we get to it in its place in my little countdown right here. So without further ado, I'm going to be ranking every Gorillaz studio album, not just the main albums. I'm going to throw in some of the D-side and G-side tracks in here as well, and even this first entry, Space Monkeys, Like I Come Home. The only reason that this is at the bottom, there are still some really, really cool-ass remixes of the first album on this thing. There's just some that are better than others, and that's all that I can really say about Space Monkeys. I still think it's really cool, chilled out, one of the best dub albums you could possibly get, along with being a remix of the entire first album, but I think it's really, really cool. A lot of the songs on this thing, but some of them do eventually, it starts sounding like you're just listening to random noise, in my opinion, after a little while, but that could be on my only criticism about this thing. There are some killer songs on this thing, too, and a lot of them that I still come back to from time to time. So, Space Monkeys, at the bottom of the list, but definitely doesn't mean that it's bad, per se. Next up is G-Sides. This album is kind of short, 9 tracks on the standard US edition. Once again, kind of one of those cases of some songs being better than others. I really do like the Soul Child remix of 19 through 2000. It's one of my favorite remixes. Probably one of Gorillaz' most classic remixes. You could almost consider it to be like one of their own album tracks, honestly. The Wise Guy's House remix of 19 through 2000, I've never been a huge fan of on this thing. Ever since my high school days of listening to this album, I've not been a huge fan of that remix. But the English version of Latin Simone, sang by Damon, I really, really like that track. The song Faust, I think it's pronounced, it's really, really pretty track. Reminds me of Christmas time. Reminds me of snow falling on the ground. That's why I like that one so much. The Sounder, cool little song about the band. Cool little rap song there. Ghost Train, one of the first songs that Gorillaz have ever wrote. That's a cool little upbeat track. Hip Albatross, kind of a dreamy song. The Clint Eastwood remix on here, the Phil Life Cypher remix, that's really, really cool. I like what they did with that. And 12D3, a really great acoustic song. Once again, just some songs better than others and some remixes that I don't really listen to that much. But G-Sides, still some redeeming tracks on that thing, even though I don't think it compares that much to D-Sides, for sure. Next up is The Fall. I do think this album gets a little bit more shit than it deserves, honestly. I get that it sounds a little bit more demo-heavy. It doesn't sound as polished. I mean, the creative force that Damon used to create this entire thing on an iPad is pretty cool, in my opinion. And I do think some really cool standout tracks happened on this thing, even though it does sound not as polished as a standard studio-made album. I really like the song Aspen Forest. I've always really enjoyed the track Aspen Forest. Revolving Doors is a classic. That and Amarillo were the perfect 2 singles to lead off with this album, in my opinion. But the whole thing as a whole, listening to front and back, sounds like a complete experience on this thing. The Snake in Dallas is a really, really cool song. The Joplin Spider is one of the more weirder Gorillaz tracks that they've put out, but it's really, really cool. Bobby and Phoenix is really good. The Bobby Womack track on this thing. And who can forget the classic Seattle Yodel? Seattle Yodel. That might be the standout track. Seattle Yodel. Yes, The Fall. it's good. It's not as bad as people say it is, in my opinion. But I don't think it beats the D-sides. Oh man, D-sides here is so good that it almost feels like a lot of these tracks. Well, honestly, you know what? This is a standard Gorillaz album. This is not B-sides to Demon Days. This is just an album, okay, entitled D-sides. Because these B-sides for Demon Days are some of the best fucking tracks that they've put out. I mean, honestly, there's some huge highlights on this thing. The song Hong Kong will always be one of my favorite Gorillaz songs that they've ever put out. That's a huge highlight for me. Hong Kongaton, I really, really like that. Highway Under Construction, 68 State. People. Bill Murray, awesome weird-ass song. The Swagga, another really kind of electric, more rock song by Gorillaz. Murdoch is God, that one's really slamming. The Don't Get Lost in Heaven demo version with the banjo and shit. That's really cool. Stop the Dams is a beautiful song. And my version actually includes Samba at 13. I know some didn't include that track. Mine also includes the track Film Trailer Music, which is a really, really demo quality song. This is a Japanese edition D-sides. So I got a few extra tracks going on this one. So yeah! Pretty cool stuff. Look at all the Japanese lettering. This is the one that I prefer to listen to because I like having all of those extra tracks on this thing. D-sides, it's amazing. Next up, we have the classic Plastic Beach. Over the years, this album has kind of fell lower and lower and lower in my top albums of their standard discography, which is why this album has kind of landed here. There's still some of my favorite classic songs on this album of all time, Empire Ants being one of my favorite Gorillaz songs of all time, along with, you know, Superfast Jellyfish. Just the overall feel of this album seems a little bit more plastic feeling, and I don't know if it comes from Damon producing the album himself or what it is. I still enjoy this album from front to back, no stopping, all killer, no filler. I'm serious. Don't hate me just because it's placed at this spot, okay? I still enjoy it from front to back, but I can't deny my love for the rest of these albums. And honestly, they just had to go somewhere. Honestly, they just had to go somewhere. So, now we get to the Now. I'm going to be doing a little unboxing of the CD version and hopefully a standard vinyl tomorrow. I did get my confirmation email in the mail finally that it should arrive at my house on time tomorrow, so I should have an unboxing video for you guys at some point tomorrow. Going to take a look at that. I did actually get it managed to get my hold on a vinyl box set as well. That one probably won't show up tomorrow. I'm probably going to have to do a video on that at a later date, but it's going to come as well. Sorry about that. My order just got put in a little bit later than everyone else's. So you probably won't even care about my video. But the Now. Gorillaz Effect, yeah, it took hold. I really, really trashed the song 1% in my original video. And it's a gorgeous song. It's a really, really pretty song. It's really, really sentimental. It really makes you feel kind of floaty. It makes you feel like you're in space. It kind of sends chills down my spine. In my original listen through of this album, though, for some reason, it just felt like it kind of floated by. I just didn't really pay that much attention to it. I guess I was just excited to get to the song Soul Guy. But this has become more and more an album that has kind of grown on me. I feel like I was more positive than I was trying to let on in my original review. Because honestly, I was about 2% disappointed in this thing. Honestly. Coming from what I thought we were going to get initially, I didn't think the sound was really coming through that much across the entirety of this album, even on the songs I liked. Something about it was kind of missing. But as I've been listening to it more and more, I'm getting that feeling that I was looking for. It was just taking me some time for some reason. And I don't know. I think it really deserves this spot on the list now. Even past Plastic Beach. I think this album is a really emotional counterpiece to Humanz. I really do like how it's more of a laid-back, kind of chill album now, honestly. I just think it's Gorillaz trying out a new sound. Again, in a way. It's kind of like an album that Gorillaz were doing. They were like, it really is 2D centric. It really does feel like 2D is himself kind of making songs now. And I don't know, it's just a really cool, different sounding type of Gorillaz album that if you're in the mood for something that's a little bit more chilled out and summertime vibe, I think you can get that on the Now Now, and I love that for it. And the whole thing in general, I just think is pretty fucking phenomenal now. So, the Now Now, there's my Gorillaz Effect review of the Now Now. Still some really standout fucking songs on this thing. Sorcerers and Hollywood, Sukai especially, Sukai. Oh, Sukai. One of my favorite fucking songs of all time. Humility, of course. So many great standout tracks on this thing. So cool, so cool. Anyway, now we are in the top 3. Number 3 is the standard debut Gorillaz album. Every single time I go on a road trip, I just put this thing on in full and just dance my ass off, vibe to the really chilled out dubby songs, rap along to all the cool ass chill rap songs on this thing. There's nothing more Gorillaz sounding than the first Gorillaz album. And I still think it's a fucking masterpiece of the modern age, honestly. Nothing fucking beats it. Except for these 2 albums, I guess, in my opinion. But I still think it's one of Gorillaz' best. And I can totally understand someone for this being their top favorite album, in my opinion. I just love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Never get sick of it. It feels like a really long album, and I kind of love that for it, too, honestly. I love that the standard American edition is also 19 tracks long because I love all the remixes on this thing. The song Dracula, that is an amazing song. It's just perfect. It is a perfect modern album. Double bass even. Love that instrumental cut. Funky as hell. Such great genres all coming together on one album. It's so wonderful. So great. Love it. Alright, number 2. This is unpopular. Humanz is my second favorite Gorillaz album. And most people are going to be like, fucking like, why the fuck is Humanz your second favorite album of all fucking time? Are you fucking kidding me? Damon's hardly on it. I don't care. I have a fuck ton of fun listening to Humanz, man. I think the collaborators work pretty damn well on this thing. There's some standout fucking moments on this thing all across the board. It is, if you feel like listening to something chilled out in summertime and just want to kind of relax on a beach somewhere, you play the Now Now. If you want to get up and dance around like an idiot with your friends, you put on Humanz. And I love this album for it. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. I listen to this thing timelessly. It's become one of my most played Gorillaz albums of all time. Even though it only came out last year, I listen to this fucking thing a whole lot, especially my track listing that I made myself personally. I've posted my track listing in the comments of some original videos, but I'll post it again if anyone's interested in my personal track list of Humanz, where I included Sleeping Powder and a few of the deluxe edition songs. But I still do listen to the standard edition of Humanz from time to time just to get the album experience for what they were trying to pull off. Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, especially when I listen to my vinyl, I don't listen to the CD as much. Just do it for collector's purposes, because this is the CD deluxe edition. This one comes with the second CD on the other side for the deluxe edition tracks. But yes, Humanz is my second favorite Gorillaz album. I don't give a crap what you gotta say. I have a lot of fun with it. And the most obvious number 1 choice, of course, has got to be motherfucking Demon Days. This was their standout staple. This album actually did amazingly well in the United States, thanks to Feel Good Inc. It's a shame that Gorillaz have still not been able to pull out another single that can really capture America's attention ever since this album. It kind of sucks ass. I was really hoping Saturn's Bars might be able to pull that off, because people do seem to like EDM over here and stuff like that, but still, I don't really hear that much Gorillaz apart from Feel Good Inc. on United States radio, but still, I think Demon Days is a classic fucking album. The string instrumentation on this thing, the strings, the orchestration of this album, the really smart and kind of clever songwriting that can be kind of obvious but really, really vague at the same time. Some of the most standout Gorillaz singles ever, from Kids with Guns, El Mañana, Feel Good Inc., Dirty Harry, Dare, they're all here on this fucking album. And it's just fucking gorgeous. I mean, like, the entire album, listening to it in a full kind of experience, I mean, that's what it is. It's a full experience listening to it from front to back. Most other Gorillaz albums, you don't really need that. You can kind of, like, pick and choose what you want to listen to. But I feel like this one right here is best listened to in full. And, yeah, this is just... I don't think Gorillaz are ever going to really be able to beat this, in my opinion. It's just so much hype and emotion and beautiful moments and rocking moments and electronic moments, and just a general feel of this album just makes it the best. It really is. It really is the standout best. If Kanye West has My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, then Gorillaz have Demon Days. And there's just no denying that, and I think most people will agree with me on this. So anyway, that is my ranking of all the main Gorillaz studio albums and B-sides albums. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be back tomorrow with a look at one of the Gorillaz bundles and a standard Gorillaz vinyl. And maybe we'll listen and compare maybe some. Maybe I'll get some footage of playing it on the turntable. So, should be a fun time. I will see you guys soon, Mr. Benny 1, 2, 3, 5. Peace out.